Hey everybody, thanks for clicking that thumbnail. Welcome to Talking Habs. Today's video, we are doing a Montreal Canadiens training camp odds and ends, which is basically a news of the day type video. We got a bunch of different stuff for you, and I don't know who we are, but because I'm here alone. So I've got a bunch of different stuff for you. And before we get to that, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe and ring that notifications bell. So if you're a Habs fan like I am and you want to see more Habs video content, yeah, subscribe, ring that notifications bell, and that'll get you your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge right here at Talking Habs. Yeah, I get complaints about my hand motions. I don't know. Just a natural thing. Happens. All right, so we got some news today. Yesterday, the Montreal Canadiens waived 9 players. Included amongst them was Noah Juulsen, Jordan Weal, Xavier Ouellet, Charlie Lindgren. Now, everybody cleared except for Noah Juulsen. So Noah Juulsen gets claimed by the Florida Panthers. And I don't think a lot of people are surprised that Juulsen might have gotten claimed. I kind of am, because I don't think he's a guy that is ready to play in the NHL this year. And the rules of this waiver claim means that the Florida Panthers have to keep him on the team, on their main roster, for a certain amount of time. I think it's something like 30 days before they're allowed to waive him again. If they waive him to put him down or to put him on the taxi squad before that, I believe Montreal gets to possibly get him back. So we'll see how that works out. I don't know how that's going to work out, but you see I have up here, I don't know, it might be written too small, Shane Churla, Rick Dudley. Now, Shane Churla, I believe, used to be the Montreal Canadiens director of scouting or something to do with scouting. And Rick Dudley was in management, assistant general manager, something like that. So now these guys are with the Florida Panthers. Shane Churla drafted Noah Juulsen. So it's not really a surprise that the Panthers would pick him up. So that's what we've got. We've lost Noah Juulsen. Now, there's a lot of people are upset about that. I don't think the Habs had much choice. It was either Mete or Juulsen. Mete is a somewhat experienced NHLer now. Juulsen, 2 years. I think he's played 1 game in the AHL in the last 2 years since the injury. He's basically hardly played. It might be a little bit more than 1 game. But I know when he came back this last time, he played 1 game and then everything got shut down. So he's lost a lot of time and a lot of development, and I think it's a bit of a risk. There's not much risk, but there's a bit of a risk in taking him and then having to have him on your roster at the beginning of the season. I don't know Florida's financial situation, so maybe for them it's not a problem. But that's probably the reason why Juulsen was claimed by Florida, because of Churla and Dudley. Now, the depth chart on the Habs. So if you're wondering how bad is this going to be for the Habs, and we'll see. It starts with Weber, Petrie, Sherratt ahead. These are all ahead of Juulsen. Edmondson, Romanov, Kulak, Mete, Ouellet, Fleury, and then Juulsen comes up as the 10th guy on the depth chart. You know, if he was up higher up, he wouldn't have gotten waived. But I mean, if you're gonna make a decision on who you're gonna waive, are you gonna waive Mete? You're gonna waive Juulsen? Well, I think Mete offers you something this year that Juulsen I don't think can. So they tried to get him. They wanted him to play the full season in Laval, and it just didn't work out that way. So it's like a minor speed bump on the road. I don't think it's anything that. Yeah, I would like to still have him. If we don't, I don't think there's a problem. There's a lot of good guys on the team right now, as the depth chart shows, and there's a lot of good defensemen in the pipeline still coming up. Montreal's going to be fine. Next up, let's see. We'll start out. Two big news today, and the thumbnail you clicked on, Montreal had to decide between Paul Byron being waived and hopefully not getting claimed. They had already apparently decided that they're going to waive Michael Frolik. So what that meant was they waived Frolik, and that still left them $50,000 over the cap, and they had to make a decision between Byron and Corey Perry. Personally, I thought Byron would have been the guy that they'd have moved to make the room, but that's not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. I think I misread that, because Montreal seems to really want to keep him, and they did. So they hung on to Byron, and they waived Corey Perry. Will Corey Perry get claimed? I don't know. I don't know what the situation was when he got here, right? Did he have other offers from other teams and he turned them down and he picked Montreal? This is where he wanted to go. This is where he wanted to win. If that's the case, he may get claimed because there might be teams that want him. If it was the case that no other teams got in touch with him to inquire, like there was no deal with any other teams possibly there, and Montreal was the only one, it's a good chance that he'll clear waivers and everything will be fine. So we'll have to see. We'll find out tomorrow at noon, and we'll know whether he's been claimed or not. As far as Frolik, I kind of don't think Frolik gets claimed either, but we'll have to find out, right? So that's the story there. That happened today. By the way, in losing Juulsen, he was a right shot defenseman. And apparently, right now, with the prospects that are here, that's a rarity. There's only 2 other guys, I think, that have right shots. But there's also 2 other young guys coming up, Caden Gooley, and I can't remember now. But now there's 4 guys in this pipeline that have right shots. You got to figure next season at the draft, they're going to probably draft a few guys like that on the right side. And, but I don't think it's a big deal. Honestly, listen, yeah, Juulsen could have been a good defenseman here. It's a possibility. Still don't think it's a huge deal that we should all be up in arms over it. But anyways, that's the case there. On to that. So I said, the other guys that were waived, so there were 9 players waived yesterday. 8 of them cleared waivers. So that means Jordan Wheel, Charlie Lindgren, and Xavier Ouellet. Those are the 3 guys of any consequence in my mind that were waived. So they'll be assigned to the AHL. I kind of think, though, that either... See, I don't know the situation with McNiven, if he has waiver issues. So I don't know who's going to be the 3rd goalie. McNiven has been the 3rd goalie basically in camp, I think, but I don't know if that's 100%. So Lindgren will either play for Laval or he will be put on the taxi squad. I do believe Jordan Wheel will go to the taxi squad. Alex Belzile is someone I think might go on the taxi squad. He was also waived to go down. I didn't think he would have problems clearing waivers. So there you go with the waivers from yesterday, the waivers from today, which we'll find out tomorrow. Now, let's get into some other stuff. Mark Bergevin did an interview with a local radio guy. So you guys from the area, you know who Tony Marinaro is. He's on TSN 690, and he did a bit of an interview. I think it was yesterday, not today. Just some of the things from the interview. So some quotes from Bergevin. He does say that, first of all, if we're worried about the cap, by 5 p.m. tomorrow, that the team will be under the cap. He also said, as the season progresses, we'll have more cap space. We'll manage our daily roster, and that's what they're going to do. I know I saw something out there about if they would have waived Byron and kept Perry and Frolik, they'd be under the cap and be able to bring Byron back up within a few weeks. But that's just assuming that Byron wouldn't get claimed. I think Byron would, actually. I think Ottawa would be a perfect team to claim Byron. He's from there. They need a guy like that. They have the cap space. I think he would. I think they would have taken him. So, yeah, I don't think Byron. That's I think the reason why they didn't waive Byron. Yeah, okay. The Bergevin interview. So he believes that he knows there'll be even if Perry gets taken, however it works out, at 5 o'clock tomorrow, where they have to be under the cap, they will be under the cap. So on whether he's considering adding a right-hand defenseman to give Shea Weber a rest. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that Juulsen got claimed, that somebody asked him that, but it was Tony Marinaro. So he says to Marinaro, he says, go ask Weber if he wants a rest. Good luck. Bring a helmet and a mouth guard. Marinaro asked him if he would be still making any new moves. Is he done? Is he still going to make another move? He said he's like 7-Eleven. His quote is exactly, I'm like 7-Eleven, Tony. I'm always open. On Ryan Poehling being a center or a winger. So Marinaro asked him if he thinks Poehling would be a center or a winger. Have they decided? He says the jury is still out, but we believe he can still be a center. We still think Ryan can get it done. So there's still... jury's not out on him. On Jonathan Drouin, our expectations for Joe are high internally. He's engaged and dialed in, and I expect big things from Joe this year. I think a lot of us do. I think it's been the same every year, and hopefully this is the last year that we will have to say, I'm expecting big things from Jonathan Drouin. Hopefully he'll deliver on it. I kind of think he will. I think the way the team's set up now, the line that he's going to be on, I think it's kind of, it's set up for him to have success. So we'll see how that works out. And listen, even in a bad year or not hugely successful year, he still puts up 50, 55 points in a season. It's not horrible, so, a slight improvement's going to be a great thing. And I think that slight improvement is going to be able to happen because of the moves that were made. On first round draft pick, Caden Gooley, he could be a guy like Jay Bouwmeester, a useful, successful NHL defenseman. He can skate, has good range, and can play against good players. I think we have a good player on our hands. I do too. I think Gooley's going to be a good one. Getting raves from the coach, Tournier. Ray Ferraro, I think, was talking about him. Also, just everybody that's talking about Caden Gooley right now after that World Junior Championship, I think his stock has gone way up. He is, I don't know if he's going to be a first pairing defenseman, but he's a top 4, shutdown kind of guy. Just a pest, gets in the way, gets his stick in the way, gets guys off the puck. I think we're going to like this guy. On Cole Caulfield being compared to Brian Giunta, maybe it was Ray Ferraro that compared Cole Caulfield. I could have got mixed up on who was talking about who. So he was being compared to Brian Giunta. That when Giunta came into the league, he was a scorer. He was a really good scorer. Had I think 40 or I don't know if he got 50 goals, but he had like 40, 44 goals. He was a scorer in New Jersey. Then, obviously, being in New Jersey, you have to learn how to play both sides of the ice. And he did that, but he was a pretty good goal scorer. So, in that comparison, he says Cole has more offensively. His shot is off the chart. Cole has to work on the defensive side, though he's still a young player. So he's saying that, his defensive game is not what it should be or could be. And if you're comparing him to Giunta learned how to play the defensive side because he played in New Jersey. You had to. He's still young, and I know that Cole is working on that right now. Seen interviews and stuff. Apparently he's working hard on his defensive game. Let's see. I know there's more. No, I guess that was all for that. I said that. Okay, so here's what I got about what happened. I guess just about with the Juulsen and with Perry. Okay, I just wrote this, my thoughts on what's going on. So former Habs brass Shane Churla and Rick Dudley, they work for the Panthers. I guess I should have read that when that. Churla was the guy who drafted Juulsen, so I don't think there's any surprise there. Going back to this, that Juulsen got taken. I really didn't think he was going to get taken, but I don't think there's much surprise there. I mean, some of the stuff wasn't on my mind to think that. If I'd have known that, I guess I could have thought maybe. But the fact that you have to keep him on your roster for that 30 days or whatever, I don't know. I thought that would keep people from drafting him or picking him. As for Perry, Montreal felt there was less chance a team will take him than there is for Victor Mete. And quite frankly, I think if you put Victor Mete on the waiver wire, he's gone. I don't see how some team in this league doesn't take Victor Mete. As for Perry, I don't know. At his age, there's the fact that Perry may want to retire if some team takes him and he doesn't want to go play for them, right? He wants to win a cup. He doesn't want to go to a team that doesn't have a chance to win a cup. If Ottawa picks him up, say Ottawa, does he not maybe say, listen, I'm not reporting, I'm retiring? He has the right to do that. So maybe that'll keep people from claiming him. We'll have to see. The Habs had already decided to waive Frolik. And like I said, there was still $50,000 on the cap over. So a decision on Mete or Perry had to be made. I think they made the right decision. Mete would surely get taken. He's a 22-year-old speedy defenseman with some great advanced stats. He actually has some great advanced stats. Don't ask me exactly what they are. I'm not an advanced stats guy, but he really does have some good advanced stats. So believe it or not, he's small, but has 181 NHL games, including the playoffs. and still has some upside. I think he still has some upside. So as I was saying about Perry, first of all, Perry, yes, he's a former Rocket Richard Trophy winner. He's won it all. Stanley Cups. I mean, he's got everything there, right? He's a great player, but he's 35. He's not that player anymore. Yes, still great. I think he's still very helpful in the playoffs, and I think he can help your power play. The rest, I don't know how many games he can play exactly, and he's getting a little bit slow. His heart, he's a fourth line player, right? So, he'd been available to everybody, all the teams, and it seems like nobody wanted him, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I mean, who considered Corey Perry being signed? And they signed him. So, let me see now. So no other team was interested when Montreal signed him, right? Teams' priorities may have changed since then, though, right? Because they've had their training camp. We signed him before training camp, so they've had their training camp. There may be teams that have different priorities at this point and might be interested in Corey Perry now. So that's the chance that's being taken, I think, is that. If nobody wanted him before the camps, there's a good chance that somebody actually could look at it and say, well, he could help us, and we'll take him. The thing is, they have to also keep him on the roster. Montreal wants to have him on the taxi squad to start the season. A team picking him up has to keep him on the roster. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to add to that. Paul Byron would probably get claimed, like I said, despite having the 3 years, $3.4 million AAV that's left on his current deal. It's obviously Montreal was not taking the waiver chance with Byron. And, going into all this, I thought Byron would be one of the solutions to getting under the cap. Other things have happened since I put that out, like Perry. Like, I don't think that had happened, right? So there's changes, and it's obvious that Byron offers more. Well, here's how I put it. You've heard Bergevin or other coaches and GMs say, there's players that get you to the playoffs. There's players that get you through the playoffs. Remember, Bergevin just said that last season, I believe. Paul Byron is one of those guys that gets you to the playoffs, right? If you don't get to the playoffs, then you don't need Perry to get you through there, right? So I think the first priority was to make sure you get to the playoffs. And then, a guy like Perry comes in handy. But, if your decision is take a guy that might not really help you get to the playoffs, but could help you get through them, or you have to keep a guy that will get you to the playoffs, and then anything can happen, right? We know this. I think that was the right decision. In the end, I think that was the right decision. So if no teams claim Perry or Frolik, I believe they'll go to the taxi squad. And if Montreal runs into some injury problems, managing the roster and the cap could be a problem. So injuries are going to be a big problem right now until they manage to get some cap saving and get under far enough. Injuries could be a problem. So hopefully keep our fingers crossed there's not a lot of injuries. And I think that's it. There you go. That's my news and my odds and ends from the Montreal Canadiens training camp 2021. As usual, I went way longer than I wanted to because I talk too much, and I guess that's why I'm doing hockey videos on YouTube. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed it, please give a thumbs up. While you're down there doing that, if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, ring that notifications bell, and that will get you your daily fix of Blue, Blanc, Rouge. Right here, Talking Habs. If you're all still here watching, I will be trying to get my more detailed season preview out by tomorrow. It's going to be in a couple of different parts, maybe 3, I think, parts, and all coming out like at the same time. So look for that. It's going to be more detailed than my last one, and like more breakdowns of the lines and stuff like that. And hopefully you'll look for that. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. See you next video. Bye, everybody.